Electrics are the future. Like it or not, electric vehicles are going to proliferate, and the proliferation is going to happen in this segment, the segment of electric scooters, which are just so well suited to electric mobility. In city commuting, an electric scooter, it works perfectly. And today we have what we think are 4 of the nicest electric scooters on sale right now. So we've got the Ola, which is making all that noise on social media. We have the Ather, which gave legitimacy to this class of affordable yet enthusiastic electric scooters. And to my left, we have the 2 legacy manufacturers, the iQube from TVS and the Chetak from Bajaj. In this video, we're going to find out the best electric scooter on sale right now. But before that, don't forget to like this video, hit the bell icon, and don't forget to subscribe to the Evo India channel. Let's start with the newest scooter off the lot, the Ola S1 Pro. Now, here's we, Petrol Media, actually reviewing electric vehicles. Now, on paper, the Ola S1 Pro actually wins this test. It has the largest battery, 3.97 kilowatt. It has got the most power, 7.4 BHP, which goes up to a peak of 11.4 BHP. It has the most range. It actually is the fastest of the lot. It also looks the most sizable. So what is the Ola like to ride? When you ride it, it is the most powerful of the lot. Now, what is the biggest roadblock for acceptance of electric vehicles? It is the range. And on paper, it betters the rest by around 60 kilometers. In reality, it betters the others by around 40 kilometers. So out here on our test, we are all stressing about the range of the others. We are actually looking at the phone, finding out a charger somewhere near our test location to go and charge it. But the Ola, it can get back to our office without a problem. That way, the Ola is really sorted. It gives you peace of mind. In terms of the ride comfort, it's got this lovely single-sided swing arm, single-sided front fork, which looks like something that can't really take on Indian roads. You know what our Indian roads are like. But in reality, it is not a problem. So yesterday, we rode this down from Lonavala to our home base in Pune on the highway, mix of city roads, bad roads, good roads, and it took it all really well. The ride is actually sorted and it does not feel fragile. In terms of the build quality, it feels like it can take on Indian roads. Of course, we can only really say for sure once we use the bike over a period of time, but as of now, it feels all right. In terms of handling, now this is an all-new scooter from a manufacturer that has never made scooters or any personal mobility device. So going to the test, you take it a little easy because you're a little worried that will it do everything that you wanted to do. But after a while, this actually gives you the confidence because this is predictable, it is easy to ride, it can hold decent lean angles, it does everything that you would want a city runabout to do. No problems. It can hold decent speeds, it is stable enough on the highway. So overall, this actually is pretty sorted. And in fact, on that front, I'm actually surprised by how well sorted this scooter is. It does not do anything funny, nothing at all. It doesn't worry you. It just rides like you would expect a scooter to ride, which is, ticking all the right boxes. In terms of performance, the Ola, it gets 3 modes: normal, sport, and hyper. And in each mode, there is a significant and noticeable step up in terms of power. Also, there is a significant and noticeable step down in terms of range. But then that is the trade-off. You want more power, you get less range. And it shows it all on the dash. So you know what you're going to do and where you're going to end up, whether you're going to end up at your charging station or you'll have to push it over there. But in terms of the performance, it is there. It is quick. Though I have to say that with electrics, you expect it to really have that instantaneous acceleration, snap your neck back, because electrics, they make peak torque at just above 0 RPM. But here, it does not really take off in that snappy fashion that the other electric scooters do. But once you cross 15-20 kilometers per hour, that's when the speed actually picks up and then it feels fast. And in hyper, it feels nearly as fast as the fastest internal combustion scooters. In terms of performance, it actually is a quick scooter. We have to talk about the prices. Now, the Ola S1 Pro costs 1,25,000. This is ex-Maharashtra and includes all the subsidies that you can get. And that does not make this the most affordable scooter. The most affordable scooter is the TVS, which is just under a lakh of rupees. Then you have the Ola, then you have the Ather, and then you have the Chetak. The Chetak is actually the priciest in this test. So if you take into account everything that the Ola offers and everything that the Ola promises to offer in terms of all the updates that will come later on, that makes this good value for money. The Ola guys are trying desperately hard to project themselves as the Elon Musk and the Tesla of India. But truth be told, it was Ather that laid the foundations of this segment. They were not the first electric scooter maker, but they were the first desirable electric scooter maker, and they went about it in a proper fashion. Just imagine if Ather had got things wrong, if their infotainment was glitchy, or if in the Ather you went into reverse when you actually wanted to go into front, they would have killed this segment. We would never have looked at this segment. But all credit to Ather, they got their product right. The styling looks super cool, doesn't it? The handling, really cool. It's got this cool aluminum frame. You can see parts of it out here painted yellow. Even the stand, the side stand is something that's really cool on the Ather. So they got their basics proper. Even the back end, their whole showrooms, those are cool showrooms. So you want to be part of this whole Ather lifestyle, and that's what they did right. Plus, they got their scooter spot on. In terms of the figures, now this is the Ather 450X. It has an installed battery capacity of 2.9 kilowatt hour and usable is 2.6 kilowatt hour. Peak power is 8 BHP, but the regular use power is 4.4 BHP. It is not the lightest in this test, but this scooter is amongst the smallest in this test. But before the Ola came along, this was the quickest scooter that you could buy. So if you wanted a sharp handling, fast electric scooter, you bought the Ather 450X. And that's why this is one of our favorite scooters. Forget ICE and EV. This is one of our favorite scooters, period. To ride, the Ather definitely feels sporty, most overtly sporty in this class. Now, it is the smallest, so for me, for my height and width, this feels a bit cramped. This is also stiff, like properly stiff. In the city, you can feel all the potholes and the speed breakers and the broken roads. This really communicates everything that is going on the road. But the upside is sharp, enthusiastic handling. This really does put a smile to your face. In terms of power delivery, it is snappy. It is what you expect from an electric scooter. It really takes off smartly, eagerly. You enjoy the electric power delivery on the Ather. But I have to point out that the motor is actually the noisiest. In an electric vehicle, you want to have that absolute deathly silence, which is what electric cars give you. But in the Ather, the motor, the electric powertrain is actually pretty noisy, surprisingly noisy, and the noisiest in this bunch. My colleagues also want me to point out that this is a scooter for the enthu cutlet. This scooter, for instance, you can do stuff that you would do on a motorcycle. Burnouts, for instance, you can do that on the Ather. You can skid the rear tire out on the Ather. So all that stupid shit you can do, which actually does not really make any difference in day-to-day usability, but which actually floats the boat of an enthusiast, the Ather, it actually does. And that's why all the young enthu cutlets are flocking to the Ather 450X. I must point out that the Ather was the first one to actually implement this cool touchscreen with all the features on it. For instance, reverse mode, we first experienced it on the Ather. The warp mode, we experienced it on the Ather. It does navigation properly. The proper map comes up on the infotainment. So they got all this right, rolled it out, and it works perfectly well. Finally, pricing, 1,28,000 ex Maharashtra, including all the incentives. So compared to a traditional ICE scooter, this is expensive. But when you compare it with the rest of the class, it is up there. 3,000 rupees more than the Ola, significantly less than the Chetak. So in terms of pricing, it is there. Plus, you buy into this whole Ather ecosystem. And anybody who buys an Ather, if you talk to them, they are proper Ather fanboys. So in terms of the back end, Ather are really doing things very well. Everybody talks about the Ather as this well-sorted, really nice electric scooter. But I have to point out that with the iQube, TVS have got their first electric scooter spot on. And in fact, on those parameters that you really need to focus on a day-to-day basis, ride quality, comfort, the iQube, it actually does a better job than the Ather. In terms of the figures, the TVS, it has the smallest battery, 2.25 kilowatt hour. In terms of the power, it has a peak power of 5.9 BHP and 4 BHP of continuous power. And that continuous power figure is the least in this test. Also, the claimed range is 75 kilometers, which is also the least in this test. But I have to point out that the iQube, it has the most aggressive regen. So if you ride using the regeneration, you can actually extend that range. So when you ride sensibly, use all the regeneration, you can see that the distance increases, but the range does not drop as much. So that means that you will extend the range, the 75 kilometers range, you will extend that if you ride it properly. The highlight of the TVS has to be its ride comfort. The way they've sorted out the suspension and the chassis, the way it can take all kinds of roads in the city is really superb. So you go over bad patches of roads and it doesn't feel rattly, it doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart. It takes it all really well. TVS, they also know the way around chassis. All their racing expertise, of course, makes a difference. And in terms of the handling, the TVS is easy, it is light, it is nimble, it does everything you want an electric scooter to do and then some more. So riding it around in the city, it actually is the easiest, it is the least effort, and it is the most comfortable amongst this lot. In terms of the features, I must point out when you start the iQube, it has this sort of sound that plays while the infotainment comes on, which reminds me of the water filter back at the office. So there should be a way in which you can take that off. But apart from that, the infotainment is sorted out. It's a nice infotainment screen. It also has a reverse mode. The build quality is the best in this segment. It really shows TVS's years and decades of manufacturing expertise. All the panel gaps are tight and consistent. Nothing is rattling. It does not feel like it's going to fall apart, even if you ride it aggressively over bad roads. It is put together really well, and it looks like money well spent. In terms of pricing, the iQube is brilliant. It costs 93,000 rupees, and that is the on-road price in Maharashtra, including all the subsidies and everything that you would get. And that makes it cheaper than a petrol-powered NTORQ. So this electric iQube is cheaper than a petrol NTORQ, and that makes it a no-brainer. Of course, it has a small battery and everything, but it uses that small battery to good effect on the pricing front. And in terms of value for money, the iQube, it is excellent. Now this Chetak is put together at Chakan, at Bajaj's big factory where they make the Pulsar and all their motorcycles. But recently Bajaj announced an investment of 300 crores into their Akudi factory. Now the Akudi factory is significant because that's where the ICE-powered Chetak and those scooters rolled out from. So now that factory is going to be repurposed for electric scooters. Investment of 300 crores plus a lot of investment into the accessories and ancillaries around there to supplement the vendor park that will supply electric scooters. So Bajaj's journey into electric scooters is just starting off. In terms of specs, the Chetak has a 3 kilowatt-hour battery. It makes 5.1 BHP of power and 5.4 BHP of peak power. Now, that does not put it at the top of this test, neither puts it at the bottom of this test. It is somewhere in the middle. In terms of range, it has a claimed range of 90 kilometers, a claimed top speed of around 80 kilometers per hour. So, it does not go very far, but you got to remember that this is a start. This is where Bajaj's electric journey begins. And from here, they can only go further up. The Chetak, it's the most conventional amongst the scooters here. It does not have a nice big color touchscreen. It does not have riding modes, for instance. So if you use a little bit more than half the travel of the throttle, that's when you hear a beep noise, and that's when it goes into power mode. Otherwise, it is in eco mode. So your eco and power modes is basis how much you twist the throttle. So you have to take care of that. And the range, well, this scooter, right now, it's giving us the most range anxiety. And as of now, because we still have to do performance testing, this I don't think is going to get back to our office. So we'll have to find a charger somewhere close by to juice it up before taking it to our office. So it needs a little bit more range. It also needs a little bit more in terms of the top speed. It does barely 80 kilometers per hour, and 80 kilometers per hour also takes a while to get there. So I would have liked a little bit more in terms of top speed. So that means you can ride it a little bit faster in the city and stay ahead of the other traffic. In terms of the takeoff, it feels quick like an electric scooter. So it takes off smartly and it gets to around 60 kilometers per hour rapidly. But then post that, that's when the power fades away. In terms of the handling, it is predictable, it is easy, it does everything that you want a scooter to do. So in that sense, it is actually well sorted. It is not the plushest in this test, neither is it the stiffest in this test. So it's sort of like a jack of all trades, but a master of none. In terms of the drawbacks, the biggest criticism on the Chetak is the pricing, but we will come to that later on. Other things, it does not have a cool color infotainment screen. This is a regular black and white screen which doesn't feel as cool as the others. The charging socket, it is under the seat, and that whole charging socket, the cable, feels a bit industrial, not as well finished as its other rivals. Also, it is the only one apart from the TVS to have a drum brake at the rear. The others have front and rear disc brakes. So there is a bit of work that needs to go into the Chetak to make it really desirable. In terms of pricing, Bajaj's, they've always been very price competitive, but that does not hold true for the Chetak, because the Chetak at 1.42 lakh rupees, it is the most expensive in this test, and it does not have the biggest battery, it does not have all the equipment as its rivals, it does not even have as much range as its rivals. So it is hard to justify its price. In fact, when the FAME incentives were applicable on the Chetak, that's when the price went down because of the FAME incentives, but Bajaj raised the price by another 40,000. So right now, the Chetak is around 2,500 rupees cheaper than what the Chetak used to be, yet it is the most expensive in this test, and that I feel a little hard to justify. Going by objective road test parameters, stuff that we should consider in verdicts, the Ola S1 Pro actually is the best scooter in this segment. The price, the battery capacity, the range, the performance, the dynamics, everything is actually very well sorted on the Ola. In fact, I'm surprised by how good the scooter is. But I also have to tell you that there is a problem, and the problem is the over-promising and under-delivery. So all those features that were spoken about, none of them are active on the Ola. And also this scooter is a work in progress. So they actually need to focus a little bit more on the product and less on making noise on social media, because this has a very, very strong chance of success. But that's not to say that the other three scooters here are irrelevant. The Ather 450X for that matter. This is a cool, sporty, funky scooter, and I would definitely recommend it. Also, that community that Ather have built up, that really is a strong community. So this, if you're looking for a sporty electric scooter, a desirable electric scooter, I would definitely recommend it. The TVS, it is the most affordable in this test. Of course, the range is the least in this test, the battery capacity is the lowest, but this is very well sorted in terms of the ride, the handling. To ride around in the city, it actually is the best in this lot. And as for the Chetak, well, there is an update coming very soon. Right now, it is the most expensive in this test, but I think the update will sort out the pricing. And also, it represents what Bajaj is capable of. That is the first electric scooter, don't forget, from Bajaj. From here, they can only go up, and this segment can only grow. Which electric scooter would you pick? Let us know in the comments below.